All right, everybody. So, welcome back to Otaku Gamer Zone's podcast. This is Casas, your podcast host for tonight, and we're going to get things started with a very somber apology. I was going to try to do this every Sunday, and guess what? Fell through the roof. Oh, man. Surprise, surprise from here. But unfortunately, it just had to do with the simple fact that I was going through some tough stuff. Depression is something that should never be taken lightly. And if you know somebody with depression, be there for them. It makes it easier to cope when you have somebody to vent to, just to understand what you're going through and to kind of feed back off of. It's really helpful and it's really awesome. And music detox is something that I highly, highly encourage for any of you out there that might be suffering from some slight depression. I can't guarantee it's going to fix everything, but music therapy for me, at least, fixes a lot of issues. So to get things started off in our last podcast, we were talking about anime primarily, and I wanted to, in the next one, touch base pretty much upon gaming. I did want to have somebody else on here with me, but that ship kind of sailed a little bit ago because I never got around to recording said podcast. So I'm going to try to fix that now. So for this one, of course, we're going to be talking about games. We're going to be talking about the Video Game Awards that just happened this past Thursday. I will not be touching upon any of the PlayStation Experience stuff that has happened this weekend, but I will kind of feed back into our overall year with games, and I also will tie in kind of what Otaku Gamer Zone's been has been doing for the year, and so kind of just do a little bit of a recap on that. Just thought it'd be fun, so we're gonna go give it a whirl and see how this goes. I don't know how long this is going to be because this is being recorded in GarageBand, so hopefully I can have some sort of time scale. It might just be every second that's going by on the screen right now, but again, we'll have to really see where that's going. But yeah, so to start things off, the Video Game Awards happened this past Thursday, which was December 6th, I think. Yeah, no, it's December 7th. It's Saturday. What am I thinking? So the Video Game Awards is kind of a spinoff of Spike's Game Awards that used to happen on the Spike channel a lot, and they're really well put together, as political and whatever you want to call it they may be. I still find it very awesome that we actually have some sort of award ceremony that actually recognizes game designers, wherein no other medium does, and that's grossly misfortunate. It's grossly unfortunate for the hardworking game designers, developers, even the indie guys. I mean, it's hard for them to get noticed and be taken, credibly. And I think it's something that the larger format, including the Oscars, for even the most part, they just sorely miss out on. And while we have things, I believe it's like either the Emmys or the Grammys that have finally started recognizing video game composers, we still are on that kind of bridge, that gap in, actually having a cohesive experience where we actually have, video game designers and developers just being recognized. So, continuing on with this theme, just not going to touch upon the entirety of the Video Game Awards. That's not what this is going to be about, but kind of highlighting some interesting things. So first and foremost, I mean, Hideo Kojima and Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro, I mean, man, it's always heartwarming, I guess is a word to say, when you see them come on stage. There's this kind of cult following around them. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people out there too that are kind of annoyed by it because they feel that Hideo Kojima, is just getting all this press rep and we're not getting game from him. But the dude is kind of like a wonderful mixture of James Cameron when it comes to, attention detail. His games, especially Death Stranding, by golly, just the cinematics themselves are just surreally film-like. It's like watching a regular movie that we all enjoy and love, and for them to kind of throw us into this is pretty awesome and pretty wacky and random. So he continues to drop us these Death Stranding trailers, and they're just so cinematically well done, but at the same time they're bizarrely cryptic yet beautiful in some freakish hellscape of way. And Norman Reedus, it's great to see them all working together, because it was unfortunate about Konami canning and doing what they did to Hideo Kojima and just basically just destroying everything. So they poked some fun at the awards, this night, with Norman Reedus basically saying that, nothing's going to stop them now. No company can stop them from doing what they want to do, which is make a game altogether. And while I would have loved to see Mads Mikkelsen there, kind of also giving some love to it, it's still great to see them all there. And it was a fun Game Awards. It was like the longest premiere trailer I ever saw. It's like 7 minutes long, but it's 7 minutes of wholesomely bizarre goodness. And I highly recommend you guys check out that trailer if you guys have not checked that out. Now, forewarning, there will be just random pauses throughout this podcast. I'm not cutting it. This is kind of an uncut podcast. I don't look at there's professional podcasts, but there'll be some cuts. So if there's just a long pause, don't worry. It's not the podcast that's paused. It's just I took a break to catch my voice and drink some wonderful chai tea. So there we have it. But beyond that, though, beyond Death Stranding being a thing, it was great to see just kind of this, this fan base that gets around, and talks about games. And it was great to see the Legend of Zelda team, spoiler alert, winning Game of the Year for Nintendo. It's their very first time winning a Game of the Year award at the Game Awards. And that is pretty historical in of itself, and it was pretty awesome that they won that. They debuted the DLC for the Guardians DLC. I forget exactly what it is, but you get to kind of go through like flashback sequences, and you see the Guardians before they died 100 years ago in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it's heartfelt. It's bittersweet. Link gets a freaking motorcycle as his divine beast, and it's like outlandishly weird, but it's at the same time just so awesome to see that. And I think Nintendo was really strong with this. The Switch is something that I feel is really revitalized them, and it's actually drawing in a lot more of a larger demographic and audience. I mean, heck, they're putting Doom 2016 onto the Switch. It's already on the Switch. They've done that. Like, they've branched out. They're putting Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, on there. It's, Nintendo's like kind of coming out of its shell, so to speak. And it's cool to see that. And it's cool to see everybody giving Nintendo some love. Now, yes, they went up against my wonderful game, Persona 5, that was also up for Game of the Year, which is unfortunate that they lost. It would have been great to see a JRPG like Persona 5, which is kind of considered that niche. It's not like Final Fantasy, where, everyone knows Final Fantasy. When you talk about Persona, barring Persona 5 right now, I mean, not many people knew about the Persona series. It was like a very niche RPG. It's weird, it's odd, and not everybody's going to like it because it takes some time and dedication, but the art, the story, everything about Persona is always great. But irregardless, it was great to see Persona 5 in that list of nominees for Game of the Year. But continuing on, though, we did get to see some awesome new indie game content coming out, a lot of really good creative stuff. And as much as people will rag on EA, I really, really enjoyed seeing the little trailer preview for the Last of the Jedi DLC that is coming out, and I think that's going to be a superb addition. I cannot wait to play as Finn and Captain Phasma, mainly just Captain Phasma, because, face it, everyone likes the First Order, and heck, I even have a First Order ornament for her on my desk right now, so that was pretty fun to see. I did like that. Of course, we got to see Bayonetta 3 announcement. They are, of course, bringing Bayonetta 1 and 2 to the Switch as well. And, of course, Soul Calibur 6 as well got announced, and that was a pleasure to see. That's actually one of the few fighting games that I actually have enjoyed in the past, besides games like Dead or Alive, for an example. Tekken was something that I kind of played quite a bit growing up, especially on the Nintendo GameCube and then to the Xbox 360. It was a lot of fun, and frankly, I've been missing some Soul Calibur. So beyond that, though, I'm trying to kind of look back through and see what they actually, debuted, so to say. But the Video Game Awards, I really like how they structured it this year. They did an Overwatch tribute. It was amazing. It was awesome. Just everything about it was fantastic. And I think they did a really, really great job with the music. It was great that they had an orchestra when they were about to debut the Game of the Year. The orchestra played the main melody of choice from either game that was nominated, and that was really awesome. As somebody who is like really into music, and that's the first thing I usually jump on when I look at a game or an anime. Music tells its own story. It weaves quality and detail into the world and the characters that you play and interact with in a game. So music in itself is very important for the player experience, and that was cool to see them actually doing that as well. Now, of course, not every Game Award's perfect. There are some, things that, everybody really loved this. Of course, this is going to win, bias, bias, bias. It's like any award show. There's always going to be some sort of small amount of essence of bias in there, but I think the Game Awards did it pretty well. And for this year, while, it seemed pretty well planned out and such, it was just randomly interesting, I got to say. I've been kind of out of touch with a lot of the games that were being showcased at the Game Awards, but I think it was a lot of fun still, regardless, and it kind of makes me just want to get back into gaming. So that's really all I have to say about the Game Awards. As far as games that I've been kind of dabbling my fingers into lately, just of course, since we got the Switch in August, I've played through Persona 2, Mario Kart 8, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario plus Rabbids, Kingdom Battle, which I no longer own, traded that in towards Fire Emblem Warriors, which I do still own, and of course on system I have Stardew Valley as well as Snipper Clippers, which is actually pretty interesting, and of course on the PlayStation side I still play Dead or Alive Extreme 3, Boob Physics, Overwatch, of course, the Persona 5 game as well, and then I've also been playing some Middle-earth Shadow of War, and also some more Destiny 2. I've been dabbling and debating on if I will probably buy the Curse of Osiris DLC for $20, as I was one of the, shall we say, lame ones who decided I'm not going to get the digital collector's edition because I don't want to spend $100. Well, I'm kind of kicking myself in the shins for that one now, but it is what it is. And frankly, I think it's pretty good lineup so far. I need to give my Switch some more love. I haven't played it in a couple of weeks. Mainly just also playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 4 a lot because Star Wars and Last Jedi is coming out soon. 5 days to be precise, which is super exciting. Those 10.25 tickets at the Alamo Drafthouse. Cannot wait for that. Pretty awesome food and booze. So, but that's what we've kind of been doing with gaming. Mobile gaming, really just kind of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I'm not the biggest gamer on my phone because that is like the most surefire way to kill your battery instantaneously on a cell phone. The batteries themselves, they're lithium ion, they have a finite lifespan as is. So, in the perfect world, I will hardly ever do any media programs aside from watching videos on my cell phone. But, probably talking more about my cell phone. I've been trying to do a review video. I'm going to be trying some unique camera stuff tomorrow and see what works for me. Just kind of want to be colorfully playful with how I edit and how I showcase stuff, just to kind of change up the tempo. I know I'm not the best YouTuber. I'm stale, I'm boring, but we all find our comfort zone, and then we kind of start branching out from there and trying new and exciting things. So you guys will see hopefully a review video on the Pixel 2 XL on Google's Project Fi tomorrow. Yay, hopefully. God, if it doesn't come out, I'm going to kick myself in the butt. But outside of that, though, for a kind of year in review, I did over on our website at otakugamerzone.com touch upon 3 conventions. I use conventions with air quotations, as one of them was kind of just a festival. But, I kind of touched upon my experiences. We went to 3 events this year. Again, air quotations, 3 conventions. We went to, of course, Naka-Kon 2017. We went to the local Japanese Fall Festival at the Mizumoto Stroll Garden in Springfield, Missouri. And finally, as unfortunately lackluster as it was, we went to Anime NebraskaCon 2017 in Omaha, Nebraska at the Hotel RL. And, I was pleased. I got out of my comfort zone, went to another convention, and while there were some things that kind of went wrong, me being a stupid, distracted driver, being nervous. Nothing bad happened in that sense. No one got hurt or injured or wrecked. Just was an experience, but I still had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I got my photography legs stretched at this convention, and that was really awesome to do. I kind of did my very first photo shoot with some wonderful Love Live Cyberset cosplayers, and it was fun. I kind of got out of my comfort zone a little bit. I was not really directive as much because, again, I'm a shy, nervous person, but, this kind of got me out of my comfort zone, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So I'm really hoping that, more future and awesome endeavors kind of arise from this, because I had a lot of fun, and, it got my Nikon camera some stretch and took some really awesome pictures, and I'm quite pleased with how they all turned out, to be fairly honest with you, as my ornament tries to kill itself. Goodness gracious, everyone's dying over here, Phasma and Ray included. No, yeah, so, okay, everybody's recovered. But yeah, so really, of course, Naka-Kon for me, I think, was my convention of the year. Granted, it's the only convention that I felt was solidly firm, but it is just what it is, unfortunately. Naka-Kon got me my first J-Rock concert this year with Rondon Rats. That was a superb performance. Music was great. The headache that I had was not, so I did have to dip out early for that. I think I did end up going to the hotel room slightly early to review stuff for that night, only to find out that my tablet is a piece of junk, and I got rid of that tablet shortly after. But that's besides the point. But the Japanese Fall Festival here in Springfield, Missouri was also another fun standout point that kind of got me more exposed to doing photo shoots with this group that I started hanging out with, who I also went to Anime Nebraska with, and that was fun as well. It was, a festival. It's outdoors. It was kind of on the cusp of summer, so it was like slightly warm. I was like sweaty the entire night. It was fan-freaking-tastic, but the festival was really well done. It was mainly just me spending time with cosplayers, taking wonderful cosplay pictures, and focusing less on the actual event. Though I did do a few things. Went to an opening ceremony, did some recording of the Taiko Drum School performance, did some other random stuff. Went through all the little vendory things that they had and had some fun. It was really well set up, and I cannot express how profoundly amazed I was at it. But as much as I ragged on Anime Nebraska, it still was a fun convention for cosplay, and the Funimation Peep Show panel, which was absolutely smuttily delicious. And I highly encourage any of you listening to this little podcast that if you guys do end up going to a Funimation Peep Show panel, you're going to have the time of your life. It's fun. Cookie is an amazing hostess, and yeah, she'll take you on a wonderful ride of smut. All right, long pause aside. But yeah, that was pretty much our year in review. This was the first, coming to think of it, it feels like I've had this, camera that I've been using for longer than just not even a year, to be fully honest. Actually, February of next year will, I think, be an official year with this guy. And I gotta say, it's awesome. I love this Nikon D5500. Yes, I have been unfortunately looking at some mirrorless cameras to potentially upgrade to, just because they're a lot smaller, easier to work with in terms of space. But, for what it is, this Nikon D5500 is a stellar buy. And honestly, if you guys are looking for some pretty good crisp images, this does not do a bad job whatsoever. I have to say that, wholeheartedly. The camera is outstanding. It does a really great job with stabilization. Video-wise, it's not Canon or Sony level, but it still does a really good job with video, and it's what I've used to film all of Otaku Gamer Zone's video ever since I got the thing. I was using an iPhone 6S Plus prior to that. And yeah, so it's been a really great thing. I feel like I've kind of fully gotten to know my camera a little bit more this year, and hopefully that continues into next year. So that's really exciting, and I hope that Naka-Kon 2018 is a really even better experience. I mean, I'm hoping that I can do a little bit better with covering, much better with the vlogging, and just kind of getting over nerves and stuff like that nature, of course. So that is going to be a fun experience. I don't know if I'm ever going to update to a mirrorless camera, because trade value is something that I watch like a hawk. And I'm not somebody that just has, loads of money to go out and buy new stuff all the time. I kind of have to, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to trade everything in, and just throw it all together type situation. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it works. I can't guarantee anything, but if you guys would like me to do a little bit more of an in-depth kind of revisit with my camera, feel free to let me know. I probably will still end up doing a video about my camera, talking about my first year impression with using a DSLR again after using it like way back in 2010, 2011 when I took photography in high school. Like, goodness gracious, that's so long ago. But yeah, so that was kind of our year in review. I didn't really do much per se gaming wise. It was just kind of, the few big hitters like Mass Effect Andromeda that came out. Then I think really we just took like a dip after that, I want to say. Yeah, after like Andromeda came out, I don't think I played any other games, to be fully honest. There was Civilization 6, of course. That was always fun. Did that come out this year or last year? I don't remember, to be fully honest. I keep saying fully honest. I just don't. I want to say it's probably last year, but still, it was a solid game. You guys should go play Civilization 6. It's an amazing strategy game. And of course, Persona 5 did come out. Yes, it came out in like April, if I'm not mistaken. So that was also a very fun game to play. I still play the living hell out of it. And then Splatoon 2 kind of really got me into wanting a Nintendo product. So that's what I got. And I ended up getting Legend of Zelda. So yeah, I'm kind of caught up to the games right now. So we'll see how that goes. I am probably planning on doing a Destiny live stream pretty soon for Destiny 2, of course. I got to stretch my legs in that since it's been a while since I played it. Don't know when I'll get the Curse of Osiris DLC again, but that's pretty much all I have for gaming. As far as what's coming up next for Otaku Gamer Zone, I kind of got a plan for Naka-Kon 2018 coverage. I got to kind of plan for if I am going to do an Anime St. Louis trip. I do really want to go. A wonderful cosplayer and writer for Viewster will be there, one that I got the pleasure of meeting at Naka-Kon, and she graciously allowed me to be kind of test my camera with her diva cosplay, and that was amazingly awesome, and I cannot thank her enough for that. So that's really all I have for this podcast, to be fully honest, guys. Hopefully you don't mind the rambling. I'm still trying to get back into the pacing of this and just trying to think of stuff to actually touch upon that I feel is important and noted. As always, if you guys want to watch our previous one, I'll have it linked in the description, as well as the end card. If I can get that working with an audio clip, I should be able to pretty fine. But beyond that, though, thank you guys and gals for sticking with our channel on YouTube, our Twitch channel, as well as our main website. It means the world to me. And if you guys feel like helping out Otaku Gamer Zone, I beat it like a dead horse, but as every creator does, affiliate links and so on down below. It really helps me make some content, especially with working on a tight budget and trying to bring you guys some awesome and varied content. It's really hard to do, but I try to do the best that I can do for you all. And as always, thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys all have a good one. This has been Acosta with the Otaku Gamer Zone, and I will catch you guys all in the next one. Peace.